Hello everyone, welcome to Samiksha IS. Today we are going to discuss the topic about the reasons why India wasn't able to attain Nobel Prize since 95 years. In 95 years, we haven't attained Nobel Prize in Science department. You could see the picture of Sir C.V. Raman here. So this clearly shows where we are lacking, right? Because many countries who are smaller in terms of population size were able to attain Nobel Prize, whereas in our case, we haven't yet. What we are going to learn in this topic today that we are going to discuss is the reasons and how to overcome this challenge of not attaining Nobel Prize in our country. So firstly, some argue that funding in itself will ensure that India is going to attain Nobel Prize. If you try to calculate the gross funding that we are doing or gross investments that we are doing in the research and development department, it is close to 0.6 to 0.8% of GDP. Right? This is arguably very low when compared to the global average scenarios of the developed nations as well as certain countries which are able to attain high levels of attainment in terms of research and development and their output in science and technology. This has to increase to the level of 2.5 to 3%. In case of India, public investment is high. That is, the overall contribution to the research and development budget is high from the side of the government. Whereas if you look in the case of the private sector engagement in spending in research and development, it's quite low. We are pursuing mixed model of economy, as you know, but most of the contribution to the present economy is done by the private sector. But its investment in research and development is abysmally low when compared to the successful countries like South Korea, Japan, etc. Thus, not only the public spending, we have to also ensure that spending is done by the private sector as well. Now, one other important reason is what we are going to see here, that is structural reasons. So from the research that has been done with regards to the reasons why India wasn't able to attain high levels of research and development is not only with regards to the funding. Funding in itself is insufficient without tackling the problem of the structural issues, which is what we are going to discuss here. Now, if we try to see and understand the funding aspect, we have already seen the reasons. The other is the appointment. The appointment given to the researchers. See, most of the cases, the appointments in our country are on account of the reasons like nepotism or localism. That is, people who are from the same locality where the institution exists, etc. The reasons for appointment rather than the merit itself. Because meritocracy is not the criteria. If an individual has got the talent, he should be given the opportunity to at least get himself or herself recruited as a researcher. But in our case, in India, that is not the scenario that we are witnessing. This clearly acts as a hurdle for the talent to enter into the researchers. The other aspect is the publishing. We are encouraging publishing, citations, but not long-term researches. See, publishing in itself should not be the criteria for evaluating the ability of the individual. Right? If I publish more research citations, then I should be commended. No. The funding should be for long-term research, which has the ability to have an impact upon the future, or which has wide recognition with regards to the scientific community, or which could be a contributing factor for the advancement of the science and technology. That requires hard, long-term based research rather than for short-term grants. So if you give more priority to short-term aspects like citations, obviously the researchers are going to strive for attaining citations rather than pursue long-term research which has the ability to have an impact upon the advancement on science and technology. Then comes the case of bureaucratic hurdles. We are also facing bureaucratic hurdles. That is, for the researchers to even get the lab space or to procure any equipment for the research to be conducted, or to have students on their behalf in the universities or any establishments, that is where the most of the time is being spent by the researchers, especially in the initial years. Now they have to overcome these bureaucratic hurdles to spend their productive time on research and development. As these bureaucratic hurdles should be resolved, then only we could see that the energies of the researchers will be spent on productive research rather than on overcoming bureaucratic hurdles. Then comes the issue of leadership. Now, gone are the days where we have the leaders with acumen like Homi Baba or Sarabha. So what we want is the research with acumen of Baba, etc. So this clearly shows that we are not providing the space for the leaders to evolve who have visions, visionary level capable leadership with long-term visions, and also the leaders who are institution building in nature. The leader who invests in institutional building such that they could provide space for the young talent to rise and also give administrative space for the researchers to involve in to provide the researchers the freedom to pursue research. That we already seen the bureaucratic hurdles, etc. These could be resolved by opening up spaces at the leadership level to wide array of leaders, a wide array of fellows. Right? Like for example, we have to combine the old guard with the young guard, with the experience, with the energy of the younger generations, so that we'll have a fresh perspective with regards to how the research of the country should be carried forward, rather than having the space reserved to only individuals who have the ability to better convince, or who have the ability to have a hold over institution. Because we already seen that the research institutions are failing in terms of their ability to achieve greater success. This in itself shows that old guard is the one which is holding over the mantle of authority rather than providing wider space for others to participate in leadership level roles. Now, these are some of the important hurdles that have kept the research potential of the country at bay. Now, let us try to understand how to unleash the potential of creativity in our country. So, firstly, the public spending should be increased. As we already seen that the level of public spending in research is quite low. We have to ensure that it reaches to 1.5 to 3% of GDP gradually as we go along. And not only that, we have to ensure merit-based hiring. An individual's ability to convince the leaders to get recruited as a researcher should be disbarred. We have to have a proper metrics on the basis of which an individual's talent is to be evaluated. And not only that, we have to ensure that we have to conduct peer level analysis or peer level review system, so that only the talented ones get recruited. And also we have to have mechanisms to have a hold over the local researchers or local level leaders, influencing whom to be recruited into the institutions. Then we have the reform incentives. Reform incentives should incentivize the long-term research rather than short-term research. So long-term research should be prioritized over the short-term research rather than the publishing of citations, etc. So number of papers published doesn't matter if we are not able to have an impact over the science and technology at the global level or at the level of India itself. Then comes giving the space for the younger level leadership. Now we have to ensure that the younger level leaders also get the chance to play the role of leaders in our country, especially in the age group of 45 to 50 years who have international level exposure and experience. Now for that, the VC positions or the leadership level positions, etc. should be opened. We have to set a tenure in terms of the leaders, so that we could have the constant flow of leaders with fresh energies or with new ideas to get a space, so that they will guide the institutions. Then the ease of doing research should also be taken into account. Like for example, we already seen the bureaucratic hurdles that are created for the leaders to evolve at the top level, or for the researcher to get a hold over equipment or to get permissions for using the labs. So for that, we have to ensure fast tracking of procuring of scientific equipment, or have labs in which multiple researchers could undertake the research. Then comes the aspect of international level collaboration, where we have to enable the international level scientists to come as a visiting faculty to these research institutions to share their outputs, and also to ensure collaborative research that could be conducted with global level reputed institutions. Then comes the accountability metric, where parliamentary level review system should be brought in so that we could supervise how the money is being spent by the research institutions, whether the grants that are extended by the public programs are used as per the expected standards or not. So these are few guidelines that are few reform measures that we could undertake to ensure that the research in our country happens as per the global level standards, and increase our chances to get Nobel Prize or to conduct research which has the ability to transform lives and the society. So this completes the discussion. Thank you.